We have understood how to find the force quantitatively. Let us discuss more about mechanical force. Here I mentioned mechanical force because there are varieties of forces: electric force, magnetic force, gravitational force, centripetal force, electrostatic force, electromagnetic force, nuclear force. Many are there. But here our interest is to know more about mechanical force. Mechanical force means which we are applying force mechanically. Basically, mechanical force is of four types: weight, friction, normal force, tension. Let me write here. The first one is weight. The symbol is W. The second one, sometimes weight is also expressed with two letters, weight, WT. Friction. The symbol is small f. Normal force. The symbol is N. Sometimes they use R also. It is also called normal reaction sometimes. Now fourth one is tension. The symbol is capital T. So these four are combinedly called as mechanical force. Let me tell you the weight. You know the weight of a body. Weight of a body is nothing but a gravitational force on the body due to earth. So if you take a block like this of mass m on the ground, this block has weight, and this weight always acting towards the center of the earth, and the weight formula is mass into acceleration due to gravity. Weight Wt equal to m into g, mass into acceleration due to gravity, and you know g value is 10 meters per second square. Approximate to take 10, but original value is 9.8 meters per second square. So weight equal to mg. Now second, friction. Third, normal. Friction, normal, both are called as contact forces. Why they are called contact forces? Because they only exist when two bodies are in contact. If you show only single body, you cannot show the friction or cannot experience the friction of normal force. The two bodies should be in contact, like tires of the car touching the road. So two contacting surfaces, tire and road surface. Yes. When you hit a ball with a bat, ball is moving in the air. Ball is one surface, air is other surface in contact. So this type of contacts only you can experience friction and normal. Now let me tell you briefly about what is friction. More we discuss later. Friction. Friction is the opposing force to the relative motion of the body. It is the opposing force to the relative motion of the body. Means friction makes the body to comes into motion. It makes the body to comes to rest also. Both the ways are possible. How? See, a block is at rest state, but if we apply the force on the block, exact sufficient force, the block is in motion. So the block is in motion because you apply sufficient force, but after some time the block comes to stop. Why? Because there is a frictional force between the block and the surface. So here the friction makes the body to stop. Right? Now sometimes friction makes the body to be in motion. And the example is, suppose you are in the car and the engine is ignited. You put the key and ignition started. When the ignition has started, the wheels has to move. When the ignition has started and accelerated, the wheels has to move. Wheels only move when there is a sufficient friction between the tire and the road surface. If the friction is not sufficient, instead of movement of wheel, they skid at the slip. So in that case, the friction supporting the car to move. Similarly, a person walking on the road, when you are walking on the road, when you are raising your right foot and putting on the road, and you are raising the left foot, it's nothing but actually you are pushing the road in the backward direction. You are pushing the road in backward direction, and so you are moving forward. And how it is possible to push the road in backward direction? Because the friction force between your feet and the road. So in this case, the frictional force makes you to move in the forward direction. So here it is in motion. So you're pushing the road in backward direction, and your friction making you to move in the forward direction. So like that, friction force is opposing force to the relative motion. Relative motion means if you are in motion, it makes the body to comes to stop. If you are at rest, it makes the body to comes into motion. That's what called relative motion. Okay, and friction force symbol is small f. Now coming to normal force, it is also contact force, I told you already. So normal force acts at point of contact and vertically upward. How? See here in this example only. Suppose there is a block on the surface. Now this is the point of contact. You have so many point of contacts, but one point of contact, if you take from the point of contact vertically up, the normal force acts. How do you say that at that point normal force acts? Let me tell you. This block has mass, and this mass acts downwards. Not mass, sorry, weight. Weight acts downwards because weight is the gravitational force I told you earlier. So this weight acting downward, because of weight, the block has to go into the ground, but it's not going. Why? Because there is an opposing force which is balancing the weight, and that opposing force is normal force from the point of contact. So in this case, the normal force N equals to mg. Now if you take one more example, a car having two wheels. In this case, you have 2 points of contact. One is here, one is here. So this is normal, this is normal, normal, normal. But weight acting downwards, mg. So in this case, n plus n, 2n equal to mg. So two normal forces are balancing the weight of the car so that you should go into the ground. So in that way, normal always act at the point of contact in vertically up direction. Last one, tension. How do you feel tension? Tension you can experience in ropes, strings, threads, etc. Suppose there is a wall. To the wall, a rope is fixed. Now you are pulling the string, in this direction. So force is towards you. When you pull the string doesn't break because there is an equal and opposite force developed to your force by the string, and that force is tension. So tension is experienced when you are walking with the strings. It is always opposite to the applied force. So like that, we have 4 types of mechanical forces. Now we are going to in depth of the concept. We learned what is the force, what are types of forces, especially the mechanical force. But who was the first person in the world to tell us that force can be measured? Force can be experienced. And the first person was Isaac Newton, a British physicist, mathematician, logician, astronomer. He has got so many roles. He was the first president of a Royal Society. Those were the days. In his age, many fellows, many young scientists were the fans of Isaac Newton. Like today, how we are film stars we have, and we have many people are fans of different film stars. In that time also, in Newton's age also, there were people who are fan of Isaac Newton, and they were called as Newtonians. And these Newtonians, they worshipped Isaac Newton. And what are the principles, what are the formulas he taught, they spread all these principal formulas in the entire world. Isaac Newton wrote a special book. Today we call that book as a masterpiece in science, in scientific world. And that book name is Principia. One of the two masterpieces in the world. One is Principia it is. In this Principia, he explained everything about force, nature, and how the different forces we have, what is pressure, everything. So Isaac Newton also famous for two things. The primary one is law of gravitation. It's very, very famous. This law of gravitation applicable for massive bodies. There he explained about the attraction force between two bodies. That we discuss later. The second one, which is our main context here, is laws of motion. To understand more about motion, he framed three laws. Newton's first law, Newton's second law, Newton's third law. These laws are very famous. Till today, we are using these laws, and in the space also, we are using Newton laws with little modification suggested by Einstein. So, the laws of motion have three parts: first law, second law, and third law.
If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.